The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Live from Boston, Massachusetts, this is Skymo and The Dave coming to you via Carlisle, Ohio. It's hot, it stinks, and it's summertime still here, boys and girls. Dave, I've about had it with this humidity and this heat.
Well, it's going to be cold before you know it.
Yeah, we'll be crying the blues. We're never happy just short periods at a time. And
enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, well, I do enjoy this air conditioner. I stay in it all I can when it gets like this. God bless our military, Dave. Thank them for everything they're doing for this country. And God bless the families. And just keep them in your prayers, folks. It's a dangerous world out there, and make it possible for us to do what we're doing, Dave. And God bless them. And, well, buddy, they're trying to put the kibosh on Mr. Kavanaugh. What do you think about that, Dave?
Well, I think you're right. I think that I think they're a bunch of hypocrites myself, though. Remember, let's see, who was this cat now?
A Democrat?
Let me find my... Oh, it's Keith Ellison.
Yeah.
He supposedly drug his girlfriend off the bed, and the son of the woman watched, and they reported him about a month or two ago, and I haven't heard a thing about it since.
No, they got the
I think
I
think they swept that under the rug a little bit.
She said she's got a video, but I guess nobody's seen that yet, But I'd like to see it. And... but this upsets me, brother, because this takes us back to 1991, right, yeah. And the Anita Hill thing. And to this day, I still think she's lying. And this girl here, this Christine, Blasey Ford, my personal opinion, she's just she'd been paid, Dave. I can't help but to think, and I found out today or yesterday that her and her lawyer are Democrat activists, and I just believe that she's either crazy enough to do this on her own or somebody's paid her. But now she got the invitation to come up to D.C. before Congress and tell them her story, okay? And at first she said she would, and then the next thing I know, I seen her lawyer on TV saying, well, she wants the FBI to investigate this first. They're all working in collusion, Dave, because when the Congress, like you said, when Congress called their bluff, then they start crawdadding on this, and trying every trick in the book to postpone this until after the election.
It's just a big setup to delay until after the the whole thing is that you got the news media and you got the Democrats working against the Republicans. And whatever they put out, the news media is going to say, it's great. We'll just go for it. It's just the New York Times, I heard, they said the man in the room that supposedly witnessed the whole thing with Kavanaugh and this Miss Ford, Dr. Ford, was, he said it happened. That's what they reported.
Right,
they said it happened. And that was a lie. It didn't happen. He said it did not happen. He didn't see it.
Yeah.
So the New York Times lied about that. They also lied about, remember Nikki Haley? They said that she bought the drapes for the quarters there for $53,000.
Yeah.
And that was fake news. Well, they put it at the end of the story that they were ordered under the Obama administration. They just now got there after, how many years? 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
These curtains took that long for them to make them. And they cost $53,000 or $43,000.
You believe that?
And it's all Nikki Haley's fault, but it wasn't. She had nothing to do with it. The previous administration had everything to do with it.
Yeah, well, the media, brother, they're nothing but communist propagandists. That's all the mainstream media is. They're liars, they're devils, all of the above, Dave. The truth ain't in them. And I've been watching these videos on Facebook. They're making fun of this weatherman. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but now in North Carolina, you know all about that, the storms and stuff. This weatherman is out there, and he's like he's fighting the wind. The wind's blowing some.
Yeah.
But he's like he's fighting the wind.
It's phony, they hype it.
Well, here goes these two teenagers walking behind him. Walking just as normal.
And he didn't see him.
No, he didn't see him, and he's laying it on thick, man. And well,
they do that silly stuff every time there's a hurricane, and it makes me mad because they expect everybody to evacuate.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the news media standing on the beach in the hurricane with a microphone, telling everybody that they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But what are you doing there?
Yeah.
You know, if they come up and interview me and say, "Are you leaving?" I said, "No, I'm going to stay on the beach. And I'm going to watch the weatherman."
Yeah,
I'm going to watch him doing the news reports because it's funny.
Yeah.
Or if there's a flood, they always get them out in the water.
Yeah.
And about 3 foot of water with waders on, like they're fishing. But they're not. They're just standing there in the water like something stupid to show that there's a flood when you can see that a mailbox is covered and half of the house is covered. Yeah. Why do they need to be standing in 3 foot of water?
Oh, yeah.
It's stupidity.
Drama. It's all drama, and the public.
Even Fox News is doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's doing it.
One from CNN, his camera crew's standing up on the road in about 2 or 3 inches of water. This idiot's got chest waders on. He's down in the ditch, reporting from the ditch. I mean, they're phony as a day is long, man, you know. And but the kids and everybody's been putting videos on Facebook mocking this guy, and it's pretty funny. But you know but that's just how fake and funny they are. Dave, they're propagandists. That's all.
That's it. You're exactly right. But what got me was the one guy from Fox News was holding on to a lamppost and was acting like he's about to get blown away. I told Janet, I said, my wife, I said, just what if the person in the studio asked him, say, why don't you jump in that water and show me how deep it is?
Yeah.
Would he have done it?
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Yeah. But now I have seen, you go on YouTube and you've seen one woman hit in the face with a fish, and one of them hit with, I believe it was a stop sign. So sometimes they do get.
Well, speaking of this reminds me of a story. There was a reporter that was the police commissioner of New York. Was his son. He was former military, and he worked for Fox News. This has been years ago. And one of his first assignments was to go cover a hurricane. And they wanted him to go down and stand in the water, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But don't you know that it wasn't long after that he left?
Yeah.
He just completely left.
Yeah. He didn't have it in him, did he?
Well, he wasn't going to do something stupid.
Yeah, right.
But I remember when Brett Baer, he was he's a host of Special Report now. He used to stand out in the water and cover hurricanes.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
Oh, yeah.
That was his job.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, if they report it honestly, Dave, without all the drama, then that's fine. But they go to hamming it up, like this was a Weather Channel guy that started this, and then CNN got in on it, and both of them got caught. It's going to come out on you. They've been caught hamming up their news things for a long time, you know, and but it's ridiculous. Hello everybody on Facebook. Hey folks, if you want to talk to Les Skymo and the Dave, let me see here, Dave. I might bump you down a hair.
Crank it down a little bit.
Somebody said you distorted a little bit over here. You can call us at 1-800-508-5431. That's 1-800-508-5431.
Let's talk about the Emmy Awards for a second.
Oh, man, I was upset about that, boy. Here we go. We're kicking Christians in the teeth
Let me
again.
see if I can get this quote right. The guy said he gives the only time white people, the only white people who think Jesus are Republicans are ex-crackheads.
Yeah.
I think that's the quote.
Yeah.
The only white people who think Jesus are Republicans are ex-crackheads.
Yeah, yeah.
Now think about that for a second.
Right.
Well, what if they said the only people that worship Muhammad are towelheads?
Right, yeah.
What if they said something like that?
Sand jockey.
They would not do that because
Camel jockey.
because they wouldn't do it because they'd be afraid they'd get their head cut off.
Sure, yeah.
And somebody will jump them out in the street and cut their head off.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, it's a free-for-all on Christianity, and, it continued. I didn't watch it. I've never watched them shows. I can't stand most of them. They need a lot of prayer, Dave, because I tell you what, they sooner or later, here's the sad thing, and I've seen this in real life. I have been at these people's bedsides when they die. Sooner or later, one of these days, and they don't have to be old for it to happen, they come down with some kind of terminal illness. And now they're trying to find this God that they've rejected and made fun of all these years. And they leave this world not in peace. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've prayed with these people. As a matter of fact, I had a dear friend of mine like that. And but I mean, he was the best feller there ever was. But occasionally he'd rib me over it, and he called me. I was a fanatic to him, Dave. He believed in God and everything, but he was of another denomination, which I'm not much on denominations. I think denominations cause division. You don't find no denomination in the New Testament. Matter of fact, you don't find it in the Old Testament. They wasn't called Catholics or Pentecostals or, they was born again.
But you just see how quick it started, though. It was a faction with Peter, and there was a faction with Paul.
Right.
And the two didn't agree with one another.
Yes, right.
Because, Peter got in trouble for not eating with non-Jews.
Right.
So they were Christians, believers, but they were not Jewish.
And then people got mad at Paul for eating meat to sacrifice to idols.
Right. They that's when the factions they started. And remember Apollos. Apollos was another faction. Are you of Paul or Apollos?
Right.
But they both, Paul didn't have anything against him. He said he preached the gospel.
Right. Yeah.
To paraphrase, but
right.
It's been around since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And it's always been that way. Even the Jews had the Sadducees and the Pharisees.
Right.
They disagreed on the resurrection.
See, what happened though, Dave, is they allowed it to cause division. Is what happened, and then along came your Catholic Church became the state church of England, and that was the only way they could keep from getting persecuted. Is becoming a state church, and ergo you got the Catholic Church, and that spread like wildfire, blah, 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 Then you had, because me, you went in the Army, on our dog tags, it was either Catholic or Protestant. You remember that? And
mine says no religious preference.
Yeah, well, we had that. Mine says Protestant on it. And but I mean, it has been, the division has been around for a long time. Okay, but it hasn't had a name tacked on it until years later, after Jesus. And then they start tacking all these names on it for one reason or another,
Yeah, it's a mystery why people have different opinions. It all boils down to opinion.
Yeah, right.
Whereas, if you read something and it seems like it just It's plain as black and white. I mean, it's just plain as can be to you or I. Maybe somebody else has a different opinion. But the thing is, can they explain their opinion? Why?
Right.
Why they believe that?
Right.
If they can, that's one thing. But if they can't, just because they believe it because their father believed it and their grandfather believed it and their great-grandfather believed it that way, then that doesn't cut it.
That don't make it true, does it?
No.
And I've always made that point, that I can, well, let me put it this way, I'll start here. My entire life I've run into people, Dave, well, I don't want to I never talk about politics, or I never talk about religion. And I could never be influenced by any of those people, by anything that's important. Them kind of people have their mind made up, right or wrong. They've got their mind made up about things. You're not going to tell them any different than what they believe. Okay, you're not going to have a conversation. They won't allow you to have a conversation with them that might provoke them to think anything different than what they believe. See, and it's totally, in their mind, it has totally boiled down to what they believe, not what the facts are. And I have always been one to debate. I've always been one to talk to people with other views or other beliefs, because we influence one another, David, through our actions or through our conversations. And that's an opportunity, might be an opportunity for me to learn something. Okay, but now people that won't talk about these things, it'd be a terrible thing to die and find out what you believed your entire life was a lie. And you miss out on the kingdom of God because your belief was based on what you conjured up in your own mind to be true instead of the truth based on the facts.
I heard a preacher once say that if the plain sense makes sense, then don't make it nonsense. In other words, don't try to make something that's not.
Right.
If it reads a certain way and you read it that way and you mean it and you understand it for what it says, don't try to change it. I mean, to fit your doctrine.
Right.
And too often, see, in biblical studies, you have to look at the totality of Scripture. So you can't find contradictions in it. Then if you think what you found a contradiction, then what? You probably don't understand the principle you're trying to figure out.
You ain't dug deep enough.
Right. If you look at something and say, well, it says over here this. Well, what it says over there, maybe in the Old Testament, doesn't necessarily relate to what you're reading in the New Testament. Or if it does, and you think it's a contradiction of some sort, then you have to study to see why does it say this here and this over here.
Right.
But there is a delineation in the Old and New Testament. You've got law in the Old and you got grace in the New. And if you look at the Apostle Paul, he's the preacher of grace.
Right.
And what he says is what I like, because I need grace. I don't know about you,
right.
But I need it.
Well, that was the purpose of Christ, to do away with to fulfill the law. And but Paul, he'd never come preaching traditions. See, that's another thing. It's customs and traditions, and we get hung up on that, and then we'll mingle that with the Old Testament, and you can create your own contradiction if you don't rightly divide the Word of God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a key part, is rightly dividing them.
Right, and there's very few scriptures in the Bible that you can draw a circle around and isolate for what it is. Those pertaining to salvation are cut and dry.
It's pretty clear that in John chapter 3, when Jesus is talking to Nicodemus,
right,
he told him, he said, you must be born again.
Yeah.
You can't see the kingdom in this world or the world to come. You
right.
can't understand what I'm telling you or who I am or where I came from until you are born again.
Right.
And the Spirit that comes in you allows you to see things that you couldn't see in the
Exactly.
flesh.
Right.
So this is what it means to be born again, is being born of the Spirit,
Right.
new again.
Well, go ahead.
But that's just basically a common sense fact, but there's so many people that read that and they don't believe in being born again.
Right. Yeah.
They just believe
right.
you're automatically born again.
Everybody goes to heaven. You just believe, and
But
that's all
you
you
have
got to do.
to trust in Christ.
A little more than that.
You have to.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're not being born again.
Right.
You got to be born of the Spirit.
Right, right. And, well, and I'll break it down. This is real. It's really this simple, Dave. I looked at things one way before I was saved.
Mm-hmm.
Now I look at things a whole totally different way. And something that I love dearly is my hunting and fishing. Now in the old days, I'd go out here and I'd shoot my deer, catch my fish, and that was just something to eat to me, And it was kind of majestic to me in a way. It's just. But the way I looked at it was just, hey, I'm enjoying what I love to do, and but now, I'll catch a fish. And I can sit in my boat or on the bank, and I can hold that fish up. And man, I look at something that was a creation of God. And the mystery to me now, Dave, is that fish lives in the water. I live out here breathing air. We both live off oxygen. But he gets his oxygen out of the water.
Mm.
I get mine out of just breathing the air. He's got gills and I got lungs, but we both function similarly, that attachment to life. How in the world is that possible? I take a lot deeper look at things is what I'm trying to say, Dave. And you look at it and it's perfect. A fish, a bird, a deer, them things, they take care of themselves. God's provided everything. They don't knock on your door. Now they'll keep coming back if you keep feeding them. They're creatures of habit, and so are we. But they're not out here begging for food. But they're perfect, and they serve a purpose. And I'm coming to a question just dawned on me, Dave. Everything has a purpose in this life. All the animals, we plow with the oxen, now with a tractor, but we milk a cow. We get our meat from cattle. We eat our chickens. We get eggs from chickens. Now, I'm breaking this down really simple. The birds, we enjoy so many of the birds that the ones we don't eat, we enjoy them. Mm-hmm. We feed them. They're there for our pleasure. But everything has a purpose, Dave. Mm-hmm. Everything serves a function. Now, wouldn't it be a terrible thing for us to live our entire life and have no purpose? We die, we go back to the dust of the earth, and that's the end of the story. Wouldn't it be a terrible thing if we had no reason, no main function, no purpose on this earth? Wouldn't that be a terrible thing?
It would be. And I think Jesus spoke about that. He said, man does not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Whereas animals, if you think about this, in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 26, Jesus said, "Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?"
Right.
And that point was that the things of this world that God created, like the animals of this earth, have no need of anything else. They're not spiritual creatures. They just have, all they need is air and water and food. whereas we need much more than that because we're a tripart being. We have a spirit, soul, and a body, a fleshly body, which we have to nourish with food. But he said, man does not live by bread alone.
Right.
And the problem in this world today is that too many people are just living on bread or substance of the world.
Right.
And that's how they function. And they think that the world's going to satisfy them with the things that they gather, with the things that they accumulate, the toys they gather.
Pleasure.
The pleasures of the world, which are pleasing for a while, but they're not, they can't last. They're not eternal. These are things that when you grow old, you can't do the things you did when you were young.
Right.
So, therefore, the pleasures you saw when you were in your youth, have no interest. You have no interest in them when you grow old. And this is what God's talking about. The spiritual things are the things that satisfy, and they satisfy eternal. They're eternal satisfaction. That you don't need all these things of the world. And the closer you get to God, the less of the world you want. And the more you move away from the world and closer to God. He says, that's my opinion. I think that's what the Word teaches.
Right. Well, and it's not like you have to move into a monastery and become a monk, No, it is not a boring life, Dave. The things that we did enjoy in our youth, and they was killing us anyway. They was deteriorating the flesh, man.
That's what they used to say, smoke while you're young enough to enjoy it.
Well, and I smoked since I was in the 4th grade, and you can ask my mother. She caught me behind the school, West Elkton, smoking when I was in the 4th grade. And but hey, Mom and Dad both smoked, so where'd I get my cigarettes? I stole them off my mom and dad. Well, 12 and a half years ago, I had throat cancer, so if smoking was good for you, you wouldn't cough and hack and puke and turn green when you first started smoking. Your body would accept it freely, you know what I'm saying? But so many of these pleasures, Dave, that we think that we enjoy so much, we have to force on our body to accept it. Alcohol, getting drunk. I mean, even after you've been drinking for a long time, how many times you in there puking and throwing up your guts?
Just show me a person that says they never get sick when they drink. I'll show you a person that hasn't drunk enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. You drink enough and you will get sick, violently ill.
So all these things, they're just, they bring us pleasure for a season.
I think that's what Jesus spoke of last in Matthew, continuing on where I was reading. It says, which of you by worrying can add 1 inch to your stature? So why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
Yeah.
Now, if God clothes the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith?
Exactly.
Therefore, don't worry. What are we going to eat, or what shall we drink, or what should we wear? Because all these things the Gentiles seek, but your heavenly Father knows what you have need of.
Right.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. And that's a word of wisdom right there, because if you seek God first, all these things of the world that you need, God will provide.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I've never gone hungry.
Well, here's the thing about it, Dave, and it's a cause and effect. I think that would be the right term for it. If you turn your heart to God, now I haven't always been the most honest person. I never was. If I was going to sell you something, even in my worst days, I'd never lied to you about it. Even in my worst days, and I wasn't a very good person a lot of the times. But anyway,
none of us were.
If I'm seeking the Lord and I'm trying to please God, I'm out to do what's right, Dave. And when I do what's right, I'm going to function in society as a productive citizen. I'm going to do the thing that's right. Okay, I'm getting away from all the things that I've done wrong, and I'm starting to do the things that are right, and there's reward in that, Dave. Because when you pursue your life to do things that are right, which sometimes it's a struggle to do right. It's a struggle to go out here and do what's right, because sometimes it hurts you. You know, you say or do the wrong thing, you'd rather take a beating than to go apologize to somebody, but you know it's the right thing to do. To where the old man, he would just let that slide. Phooey on him, I don't care. But, I mean, you strive to do right, and those things pay off, Dave. And I've said it like this a lot. You know, a job is just a means by I'm getting that the Lord is providing for me right now. A job is not my source. A job is the vehicle which God providing for me right now. God is my source. But he uses many different avenues to provide for me. And I find that so true serving the Lord, Dave, you know.
Well, you can be happy. I mean, the thing is about
happiness is not in your material stuff.
People that win I think that are successful in life are ones who have their priorities straight.
Well, sure.
If you seek after things of this world, you'll never get enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get one thing and say, it's like a kid with a toy at Christmas.
Right.
You get play with that toy and then you get tired of it and you lose it or tear it up or whatever, and it goes in the garbage. You forget about it, and then you want something else. Well, we don't change that much as adults.
Always seeking satisfaction.
You can't find peace in the flesh.
Right.
And there's too many rich people that kill themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they commit suicide. Yeah. I mean, if wealth was the answer, then there'd be nobody who has wealth or fame that would kill themselves. But yet it happens all the time. We see it all the time. And the thing I found out is that contentment is what you should seek. Be happy with what you have.
That don't mean not move up, but be whatever state you're in.
I mean, if you got enough, I mean, be happy with it and be content, and don't say, well, I need X amount of money more when what you've got is enough to do what you need to do.
Right. You know, and there's a lot of variables to that too, and because the system, okay. What I'm saying is you don't have to be poor as a church mouse to be a Christian, but be faithful over that you have and do good with that what you have, Dave. You know, I don't want $1 million. Well, let me put it to you this way. You look at President Trump. Okay, now, that man set a goal to become who he is. Okay, now, on his way up there, he's done a lot of good. He sent his plane to sick children. He's flew sick children with rare diseases to get treatments. He's paid for their treatments. He's had a woman living in a Trump Tower for years that was homeless, and he gave her an apartment in there. And he told his staff, you make sure she has 3 meals a day. And as far as I know, she's still there. But you know, the thing about it is whatever you have, be responsible with it and do good with it. Let God use you with what you have, and he'll increase that, you know. Mm-hmm. And but if it's just for the ill-gotten gain, if it's just for selfish reasons, what's the point of it, you know? But it's not a sin to be rich. But the love of money, is the root of all evil, you know.
You love it more than you
love God. So, yeah, I just don't want nobody to misunderstand where we're coming from.
It's like the rich young ruler. He came to Jesus and said, what must I do to be saved? He says, well, you know the law.
Yeah.
You know the commandments. He says, I've kept them from my youth. And Jesus said, well, you've done everything fine except for one thing. Take what you have and sell it and give it to the poor and follow me. And he walked away with his head down saying he couldn't do it because he loved his money more than he loved
More
God.
than he loved God, yeah.
So that's why he couldn't do it. So that teaches you something, that God doesn't always require all your money, but he wants you to put him first.
Yeah.
He wants you. He wants all of you. He wants you to place him first, and the riches can come second.
Right.
The money can come second, but you don't have to rely on the money, or think of the money as what you're working for. I mean, how many people think about everything they do? They think, how much money I'm going to make doing it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you should never get to the point where you're thinking all the time, lusting about having more money.
Right. Yeah.
Because you'll never have enough, if that's the case.
Right. Man, I got a frog in my throat. I think I sucked a bird down on the way in or something. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple way to live. People make it hard, Dave. People make it hard.
Well, why we start out this conversation, how we got on God, was the bashing of Christians.
Yeah.
That's where it all started from. And it's perfectly acceptable in today's world to bash Christians, as you can bash Christians all day long, but you can't bash Hindus, Buddhists, Muslims, or anybody else. You can't bash them.
Right. Yeah.
But you could. It's all right to bash a Christian.
Okay, to tear up the Christians, yeah.
Or if you're Jewish, you can bash them because they have embargoed or boycotted Israel.
Yeah.
A lot of people have, which is wrong.
Yeah. Hey, Nance, who we got on Facebook over there? No, I got to see three.
Temple.
Hey, Temple, boy, she's a regular. How you doing over there? The ones lit up there. Hello, Mr. Betty. How you doing, brother? And there's Kathy Green. Hi, Kathy. Long-time friend, Kathy. Hi, Donna Barnett. And Emily. There's my aunt, Emily. Who else we got? Denise. Hello, Denise. Rick. Oh, that's Rick. Hey, Rick. Hey, buddy, I got me a Harley, so we got to come over and ride some. Mom don't know it, though. It ain't really mine, but... yeah, I'll explain it to you later. Hello, Penny. There's my wife. But, get back to some news they can use. I don't know what this is in my throat, but boy, it's...
do a Heimlich maneuver on you.
Yeah, I might have to do it. The old Bernie Sanders, he'd been at it again. He had to crawl down a little bit on his bashing America. And I just don't understand it, Dave. This... I got one here, Nance. Thank you. But society, not all of society, and a large portion of society, they're glomming onto these socialists. And it's crazy, man, to see how fast this is growing among our youth. College, if you want to plant corruption, a college is a good place to start, because they'll jump on, not all of them, but a lot of them will jump on anybody's bandwagon. You go to a college, you can...
Speaking of socialism, did you see old Hugo Chavez smoking a cigar and eating a big steak?
Yeah.
Well, everybody's starving down there. They got to eat not even one meal a day, and he has a big old steak dinner, and a chef preparing it for him. So he's eating good.
Yeah, there's your socialism for you, college kids, little skulls full of mush.
He's going to be like Chairman Kim Jong-un. He's going to be the only fat man in the country.
Yeah, well, and he's speaking of him. He's popped his little old fat head up, and he's told South Korea that he wants to denuclearize.
I don't believe him. The more of this is going on, the more I don't believe this is going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think it will. I'm going to be an optimist on it. And I'm hoping it'll happen, Dave.
But see, Les, what they want to do, I think, is they want to take the North Koreans are playing the South Koreans against the United States.
Because you could be right.
What they want to do is have the United States sign a peace treaty in the Korean War.
Yeah.
See, it's under armistice right now.
Yeah.
So what they want to do is they want to end the Korean War. So when they say the Korean War is over, they say U.S. troops get out.
Oh, yeah.
And then they can continue on with their program. Nobody's going to stop them. They can do what they want. But I don't think Donald Trump is going to fall for that.
Well, I think you're right about that. Now, he is working on that, I think, but I think it's going to fail. I think he's going to be backed up into a corner. He wants to, the next Summer Olympics, he wants to co-host it with South Korea.
That was 2032 Olympics?
Yeah.
It's quite a ways off.
And so, but I mean, talk is good. Everybody's keeping the rhetoric down. But now when that happens, you start looking for somebody to get slick, start sliding things in there.
I think he's playing Trump right now. I do.
I think he's going to try because he's tried that with everybody.
I think he's been doing it, Lester, because they haven't made one move on. Now, see, he talking about getting rid of the missile test facility.
Yeah.
Well, that's for liquid fueled rockets, which they don't use anymore. They're using solid rockets because you don't have to take the time to fuel them and launch them. Just every country uses solid rocket. Even we have for years. We have for years in our submarines and our missile bases. Mm-hmm. I was with the 44th Strategic Missile Wing at Ellsworth Air Force Base, and we used solid propellant rockets because they were safer. You didn't have to worry about fueling them. You didn't have to maintain them as much.
Right.
You just light them and they go.
Right.
That's all you do. You open the door and light them, and they go.
Yeah.
And
match in there.
Well, basically, that's what you do. You ignite them electrically, and they go up out of the ground, and their launch coordinates are all built into the nose cone, and they fly to where they're intended to go, to their target. But that's what they're looking for. They don't want to mess with the liquid-fueled rockets.
Right.
So that's why they closed that liquid-fueled staging base, a missile base, because they don't want it's of no use to them. It's not valuable to them. But they want to keep their solid missile program. That's why they didn't parade them through town, because they don't want us to know how many they got.
Right.
They want to keep them all hid.
Right. Well, and that makes sense. What you're saying is they're going to use that for a decoy to try to lure us into a deal.
Our satellites can see those missiles when they stand them up off of the launchers and they begin to fuel them. We can hit them before they even leave. Even leave the ground, because we have submarines with cruise missiles that can hit them in a matter of minutes, probably.
Yeah. Well,
parked off the coast.
Ever since his sister brought him some chicken McNuggets from the Olympics, he started talking, and I think he wants a McDonald's over there.
Well, see, I told him a long time ago how to solve that problem. I said, open all these fast food places, get him McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, all the fast food places, get him addicted to junk food, and then say, look, you either sign a treaty and get rid of your missiles, or we're closing the fast food places, and you'll starve.
That's right,
And he'd say, oh, no, I'll sign.
Yeah,
get him addicted to that. Get him up to about 600 pounds. And where he's just rolling around in a double-wide wheelchair, and you'll solve the problem, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
To keep him fat and happy, I mean, you're going to have to do something like that.
Yeah. And ain't nothing better than fast food to start with.
Yeah, and then take him to Houston to say, "Well, get your stomach done and get you to lose some of that weight."
Yeah, there you go.
My 600-pound life. Put him on a plane to Houston.
You make a reality show out of it.
So, Kim, you're going to have to drop 200 pounds, or I'm not going to mess with you.
We'll try that. Somebody put that in Trump's
I believe it'll work. I don't know, but I'm just thinking
it
might work. Yeah, get him addicted to fast food. It'll work every time.
Yeah.
You think he's fat now?
Oh yeah. He put him on quick.
When he gains up another 200 or 300 pounds, he'll be desperate. Be like a junkie, man. He said, "Give me the dope." He said, "Nope, can't do it."
Send him some of them ho-hos and ding-dongs.
He'll be addicted to them things.
Man, oh man, what else we got here, Dave? But yeah, I mean, it's good that they're talking. We ain't heard nothing from him in a while, but they need to keep an eye on him, brother, because
don't worry, we're keeping an eye on him.
But I think you're right, because if we sign, if we end the war and declare the war over before he destroys all of his nuclear weapons, you're exactly right. And South Korea buddy up to him, and despite all that we've done for South Korea, despite what we've done for them, they would probably turn their back on us in the right situation, and they would ally with him, throw us out of there, because we can't stay against their will unless we want to start another war. And, just have to pack up and leave. But now I
think that's what's happening right now.
I would love to see us leave, bring our troops out of there. And not only out of there, but
Germany.
all the rest of the places we're
Well, you heard Poland wants to give us $2 billion to open a base in Poland.
Yeah.
And they name it Fort Trump.
Yeah. He'd jump all over that.
Trump liked that idea. He smiled when the interpreter interpreted that. I was watching his face, and he smiled. He liked that. He liked that idea.
Just build a little brick house.
Well, Trumpster goes, oh, yeah, we might do that.
Yeah.
He said, we might have a base in Poland, take them out of Germany, just move them a little bit to the east.
There you go.
And there you go.
But see, they're worried about Russia, though. They're always nervous about Russia. And
the Russians ain't the ones to fear. I'll tell you, it's the Chinese.
Well,
they're the ones that got the technology and the size of their economy. It's
well,
huge.
and speaking of Chinese, President Trump has socked another bunch of sanctions on him, and he's got more in store.
That's good. I like that idea.
But now the American people just need to be patient on this, Dave.
They do. You're right. Exactly.
We can wait there's over 1 billion people in China?
Right.
How long do you think they can go without products?
Well,
they can't go long without food.
Well, let's look at the imbalance. They sell us $500 billion worth of stuff, junk, that they sell at Walmart. What do we sell them?
Yeah.
High tech, good stuff. And it's stuff that or farm goods,
or
soybeans, whatever.
Corn.
We don't. But the thing is, they cannot do without our products, but we can do without theirs.
Right.
Because of the imbalance, we only sell like less than $100 billion to them.
Yeah.
They sell 5 times more to us than what we sell to them. So how are they going to hurt us?
Right.
We already lost the trade war with China.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're like 500 what?
Trump's trying to regain ground. That's all he's doing.
In debt to them.
Exactly.
Because of these stupid tariffs that's been going on for years and years, and all that stuff, David, is these bad trade deals in the past is to buy their friendship, because we've been so afraid of them, and that's been going on since the Korean War. We was killing Chi-Coms in Korea during the Korean War. They was providing North Korea with arms.
Well, it wasn't only the Chinese, but it was the Russians also.
The Russians too.
Their aircraft were MiGs.
Yeah.
And we were shooting MiGs down left and right, and they were all coming from Russia, and they were trained in Russia.
Right.
But back then, China didn't have a sophisticated military like they do now.
Well, they didn't have no industrial boom like that.
They had plenty of soldiers, and they had plenty of
people,
plenty of guns.
Yeah.
But now they're getting more and more sophisticated.
Well, they're still in our technology.
Well,
wholesale.
They even have an aircraft that looks just like the F-22.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks just like it because they stole it from us.
They stole it, the technology. Well, what the Clintons didn't sell to them, that's where they got their uranium. Russia funneled uranium they bought off of us into China. I seen a clip today that involved Mueller in on that deal. Mm-hmm. And, that's another thing is when President Trump, and I'm glad that he's doing it, Dave, is declassifying all these documents.
Oh, I am too. That tickles me to death. I'm glad he's doing.
collusion.
Oh yeah, I'm glad he's doing that. That's an excellent thing. He should have done that a long time ago.
And I think I think Timon. I think he's got a plan. I think he's strategically doing this because he's not doing this alone. He's got like-minded people that's helping him make some of these strategic decisions when to leak, not leak.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right on that. That he is. He's got a plan. He's got a strategy for the midterm elections. He's letting this come out right before the election so that people can see what's been going on. Now, I've determined this from watching. You ever seen George Papadopoulos on the air?
Yeah.
Listen carefully to what he's saying. They approached him.
Yeah.
And they set him up.
Oh yeah.
And then they set him up so they could investigate the Trump organization.
He's going to be pardoned.
All of this stuff was set up from the get-go. And I don't know if it was Hillary campaign or if it was the DNC or if it was a NSA, DIA, whoever intelligence organization set this up. CIA, FBI, they may have all been involved in it. I don't know.
Somebody,
but they set Donald Trump up.
Absolutely.
They set him up from the get-go.
Obama's involved
through George Papadopoulos in order to start this investigation.
And he pled guilty to something that wasn't even a crime.
He got 2 weeks of jail.
Ain't that him? Wasn't that him?
Yes.
He pled guilty to something that wasn't even
George
a crime?
Papadopoulos had nothing. He had nothing to do with the Russians.
He was an insider.
His specialty was the Mideast.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything about the Russians,
Right.
but see, they approached him, telling him that the Russians had Hillary's emails.
Right, yeah.
And all this stuff. And remember when, I'll never forget this, when Donald Trump made that joke, when he said, hey, Russia, if you're listening, see if you can find the 23,000 email or 33,000 emails that missing from Hillary. I saw solid, serious reporters think he was telling that was not a joke.
Yeah.
And he was serious about that. And that was a lie. Everybody knew when they saw it he was joking.
Yeah.
But see, they might even been involved in it. I don't know if that went out through the DNC or what. But everybody started that involvement back then. And I thought, this is peculiar.
Yeah.
And when Donald Trump in January, right after he was inaugurated, January 20th of 17, they started this stuff. The drumbeat for a special prosecutor. Everybody started saying, we need a special prosecutor.
Right.
Why? He didn't do nothing. He just got into office.
Right.
Well, why did they need that?
Yeah.
But nobody took note. But it was already in the plan.
The backup plan,
months
brother.
before.
Yeah, that was the backup plan in case it all went up in
To
smoke.
frame Donald Trump.
Exactly, yeah. And there's a lot of Republicans scared of him, too. And but now, you're exactly right, but you got, and Eric Holder. You got Eric Holder and Brennan out there saying, oh, it's a national security issue. He can't release all these documents.
Watch him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's going to do it.
He's going to stop
I
it.
still believe, David,
Nobody can stop him.
he's got some people in mind that he wants to put in prison. And I still think lock him up has some meaning. Lock her up has some meaning to it. I still think that rings true. And, there's people that he's intending on bringing down, and rightfully so, Dave, because they've tried to orchestrate a coup to destroy him.
It was a coup, a silent coup.
Exactly.
That's
and
exactly
they
what it
have
was.
weaponized the NSA, the IRS, the DOJ, the FBI, and there've probably been some CIA officers.
Every alphabet you can think of.
Yes. Yeah. And, he's not going to forget this stuff, David, because I really believe his patriotism is going to put these people in prison. And, I think, personally, I believe that the man is drop dead honest. If there's ever an honest billionaire I believe Donald J. Trump.
I do too. I think he's honest too. And I tell you what he needs to do right after the midterm elections: get rid of Jeff Sessions.
Oh yeah.
Fire him.
Little weasel.
Get somebody that can do the job.
Jeff, you're a weasel.
Get somebody that can do the job because he's not doing it.
No.
He's not doing the job. All these people are hanging out writing books about Donald Trump and slamming him when they should be on their way to jail.
Right.
They should be writing books.
Right. It's a distraction.
And McCabe's got a book coming out.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And
he's a known liar.
Oh yeah. McCabe.
That's why he was fired.
He's doing the same thing Comey did.
Oh yeah.
Comey done that.
He's walking in Comey's footsteps.
Yeah. They're trying to they're trying to throw anything out there, Dave, they're grabbing the straws. Like I said before, they're like a drowning man. They're just grabbing at anything they can to try to save their own butt because they know they're going to prison. And I really think that and some of them, though, David, are so reprobate-minded and arrogant, they really honestly believe they can weasel their way out of this. When you get to the point to where you're believing your own crap, brother, you're in on dangerous ground. Not all of them are that way. A lot of them, I think, they don't know which way to run because they know their butt's going to prison. If this stuff comes out and they're trying their best to they're fishing, David. Brennan even said, you people in the FBI need to ignore his orders, even if it costs you your job. You need to refuse to do that. We've got 1 minute, Facebook people. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. But that's what they're trying to do, Dave. They're trying to find somebody that will stand up and be a hero and destroy these documents is what they're fishing for.
It's not going to happen.
No. Well, folks, here we are already, Dave. We got another show under our belt. It's a great show. It's a really good show. Jimmy, I thank you, man, for producing this for us up there in Boston. And, Dave, I'm kind of enjoying this show, man, doing this with you, and I appreciate it. You got anything to say on the way out?
Nah, I pretty much said it all.
All right. Facebook fans, we love you. God bless you. Jesus loves you. Jimmy, I love you, man. Thank you so much, brother. And this is Skymo and The Dave.
See you all next week.
We're out of here. Take us on out, Jimmy.
And the band